Welcome to After the Pool, the video series where I share all my thoughts and opinions on the rest of the comic books that I read for the current comic book week. I'm Mike Spiderslayer. Welcome back to Comic Book Corner 2.0. If you love daily comic book content and you like me helping you make decisions on what comic books to buy and you haven't subscribed yet, guys, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Also, if you want to see my thoughts on those newest #1 issues, go ahead and check out Worthy Ones each week. That takes place on Thursdays. That's a fun show. And guys, I've been doing more things on TikTok for fun lately. So if you want to follow me on TikTok, check out Comic Book Corner 2.0 right there on TikTok and give it a follow. All right, so with that being said, let's kick things off with the newest episode of After the Pool. So kicking things off with Marvel this week, we have The Ultimates. This is issue 11. This book has been really solid. I have enjoyed pretty much every single issue. Obviously, some issues are better than others. I was a little bit weary about this book because this one focused heavily on Thor and Sif and Asgard and all that type of stuff. So I wasn't really super excited about going into it. So when I opened it up, I thought that the artwork was actually pretty cool. It was nice to see Lady Sif in there. It was cool to see Thor. And when Thor has like good action scenes like in previous issues, it's been fun. He's been a badass. And this book really showcases those worlds, those 9 realms. We get to see kind of like Loki in here. Like he's the one that's in charge of Asgard instead of Odin. And so, I mean, listen, when it comes to this book, it just wasn't my favorite, though. It was interesting to see this world, but I'm not a big Thor guy. I'm not into all this, and what took me out of the book is I felt like it didn't really have anything to do with the major plot of what's happening in The Ultimates. It was like this big freaking poem. Right? There was very little dialogue from our actual characters in here. So this one was definitely a little bit of a letdown for me. I gave this one a C-. Do you agree? Let me know in the comments below. And then we move on to, definitely not my favorite, The Uncanny X-Men. This is issue 13. So when it comes to this book, no disrespect to Gail Simone, right? I think she's written some great stuff in the past, and when it comes to the Uncanny X-Men, I just feel like, in my personal opinion, she wants to write a story about these kids and kind of make the Uncanny X-Men themselves secondary characters. Now, if you love this book, that's great. I'm never going to hold that against you. Everyone is entitled to their opinion, and that is what makes the hobby so great. I will say that over and over and over again until I'm blue in the face. Obviously, you take my thoughts and opinions with a grain of salt, and you're going to buy the comic regardless what I say, right? So in this comic book, we get all kinds of little different plot points. We get introduced to this new character in here, and then I hate when a comic book like opens up to just like script writing. I don't know. For me, that takes me out of the book a little bit as well. And then you get this new character, and I'm kind of like, okay, like why do I care about her? And then we get a story about Gambit, and it goes back to like the very first issue, and him having a deal with this dragon, and then he goes to the freaking Savage Land, and then you go to the kids who they wind up going to this deep dark place underneath the farm that they live in, and they're exploring. And I don't know, man. This book, it just is not X-Men to me. And I get it. We're trying to do something different. We're trying to get different characters in the book, maybe that people can gravitate to. But when I see X-Men, like, I really want X-Men characters in here. I want the people that are advertised in this book when you open up the cover. Am I right or am I wrong? Like, all these people in here, we don't see Jubilee. We only see Gambit. We don't see Wolverine. We don't see Nightcrawler. We don't see Jubilee, right? We see Jitter, Ransom, freaking Deathstream, and Calico. That's who we see in here. You see Gambit because I feel like it's like, oh, hey, we gotta throw him in the story just because. But this is nothing that I really want to read, and I'm really on the fence. I'm struggling to read this book each and every week. This one gets a D- from me. All right, now we move on to a book where I have a little bit more positivity to, and this is Jedi Knights. This is issue 2. I've been trying to find a Star Wars book that I've really enjoyed for a long time, and I think this is going to be it, because this has to do with the what is it, the High Republic days or things like that, and this is like a prequel to the prequel movies, because we get to see all our favorite Jedi Knights in this book. So you get to see like Yoda and was it Qui-Gon Jinn and all those other different types of characters, and they wind up going into this mission because they're catching on to this one guy. His name is Atha Prime, and he's like growing all these different types of creatures, and they went to go inspect his planet, and just everything seemed fine at first, and then they kind of went on this stealth mission and they found out what this guy really is about, right? And again, he's growing all these clones and all these beasts so they can like take over the galaxy or the world or whatever it is. And our 2 Jedi Knights that are in this book kind of make short order to this guy, and I don't think this is the last that we see of him, but it was a very entertaining book. It had lots of action, and again, it's planting seeds of what's to come in this series. So I'm very interested in it. I wish this story arc had a little bit more with the new villain, but I guess time will tell, and this one got a B+ from me. Okay, now we go on to a book where you want to talk about fun while reading a comic book. This is it. This is Storm issue 7. This book is great. I mean, I don't know what it is about the character being all powerful and cosmic and everything, but I love seeing Storm just this overpowered character, right? And you open up this book and it goes back to like Silver Surfer Black, and he's got the freaking, is it the Necro Sword? Like, I don't even remember what that was called, but it all goes back to like Donny Cates stuff here. And when I'm reading it, I'm like, oh shit. And then they talked about the Black Winter. When was the last time we talked about the Black Winter, or we saw the Black Winter, right? And then we wind up seeing Storm do this battle against this big anaconda. I mean, oh my God. I'm like, this book is so much fun. Iron Man is in this book, and he's giving Storm this mission to go on because these guys have the super soldier serum to replicate and obviously to do their own things with. So she wanted to retrieve this serum, and in order to do this, she obviously had to go through battle, and she had to fight this anaconda thing, and then she comes across these other like god-like beings who are very creative, like in itself, like so cool, awesome to see their power sets, epic battling. This book is something that I need to continue to read. It's one of the best X books right now. This is an A+ for me, top pick. I just feel like a dumbass for not reading it after issue 1 and then finally picking it back up, I think at issue 5. So at least I jumped on now. The artwork's gorgeous. I'll definitely recommend this book. Now you've entered the realm of DC, and the first DC comic book we're talking about this week is Aquaman. This is issue 4. We got Jeremy Adams writing this, and we actually have, who's it, Timms that does the artwork in here, and his artwork is really good in the book. John Timms, that's what it is. It opens up nice, right, with Mira in here, but it is definitely just a dream sequence in here, as we wind up getting to see Aquaman in the last issue. He wound up being captured by, I guess it was Superman's ex-girlfriend, like this mermaid chick. I totally forgot her name off the top of my head. But we wind up seeing him captured, and he's being taken to the main bad guy here by the name of Dagon. And the whole thing of this book was basically him trying to escape, and the other characters in this book were forging a weapon for Arthur to use to take him out. And we do wind up seeing Aquaman escape from this book, and we wind up wielding that weapon, and it was epic, dude. I absolutely loved it. However, I did feel like it was kind of similar to, like, I think issue 2 when he got caught and then he had to escape from that place, right? But it was just cool. There's lots of action in this book. I'm not a huge Aquaman fan, but it definitely does have me entertained, and we'll see where it continues to go from here. I gave Aquaman what are we on? I said issue 4. I gave that one a B. All right, so now we move on to Batman and Robin. This is issue 20. So when it comes to this book, I've been hot and cold on it. I read the first 2 issues. I dropped it. I picked it back up with it. What I mean by the first 2 issues is with the new creative team, right? With, who is it? Philip Kennedy Johnson that's writing this book. And recently, you've been learning about this character, the bad guy, who's kind of like the Scarecrow character, right? And Damian winds up, I guess, getting kidnapped in here, and like Batman is like tripping balls and everything, and then he's searching for Damian, and then he comes across like his comic book, his diary or whatever it is, and he's reading it. And I thought like the artistic side of Damian, what's portrayed as that in this comic book, was kind of neat. I liked it. It's definitely thinking outside the box here, because you're reading a comic within the comic, right? And so I thought that was very inventive. And then obviously we get to see the story continue here. Again, this is one of those books that I'm kind of liking, I'm kind of not. It's like I'm very much on the fence with it. The villain's name is Memento. That's who it is. He reminds me of like Scarecrow character. So this one was all right. I gave this one a C+ from me. I thought the last issue was a little bit stronger. I like seeing Jason Todd in this book as well. So we'll see how Batman and Robin continues. Then the next book is Green Lantern Corps. This is issue 3. So when it comes to this series, this is like a summer action popcorn flick. I love seeing this story about their Hawk Girls or Hawk Woman's planet being destroyed, and then something much more comes out of it, right? And everything is such a grand scale and just over exaggerated, and I love it. And we get the story of what happens with the Red Lanterns in this book, like how their power battery was destroyed, and the Green Lanterns are trying to talk reason with them, saying it wasn't us, it was the the United guys or whoever they were that were in the first story arc and whatnot. So I thought that was kind of cool with them trying to work with the Red Lanterns. And then we see something come out of Hawkwoman's planet here, and it was like this godlike creature, and this thing that popped out was insane. So I remember when I saw this, I was like, oh man, I'm like, holy cow. I'm like, this is so great, and the artwork is just so much fun. And we get to see John Stewart really using his powers and being the hero here. This was an awesome comic book. And then you find out what happens with the Red Lantern Corps at the end of this book. This book is pretty darn good. It's really close to getting A+, but not quite there. This one gets an A from me. Now you're entering the realm of the independent comic books. Is this your favorite section of the video? Let me know in the comments below. First book we're talking about is Jump Scare. This is issue 2. First issue, really an amazing book about this young woman who loves horror movies, and she's come across this entity in a alleyway, and it gives her the power now of coming up with her favorite horror movies signature moves. So she thinks of chainsaw glove. Well, yeah, she's gonna form it in her hand, and she's gonna have a chainsaw glove, right? If there's a famous machete that shows up like in Friday the 13th, she's gonna use that to kill her adversary. So pretty interesting comic book. And in this book, we wind up seeing that she is not the favorite daughter of the family, and the favorite daughter of the family winds up getting kidnapped, and they ask for her help. Now they do know she's this crazy superhero, but it's pretty sad because there's this picture of the mother, the father, and the favorite daughter, and then she goes to the frame and she opens up the picture and she's like, hell yeah, I'm not freaking helping you guys. all you care about is the other daughter. You don't even care about me. But they ask for her help because now she's a superhero. But anyway, like I said, the younger daughter winds up getting captured in the book, and we wind up getting to see a little bit more of the power set of our main character here, and you see her stop crime that's happening at a convenience store. And this is a very gory and gruesome type of comic, definitely not for a younger audience. And we learn about some of the main bad guys that are going to be showing up in this comic book, and the lore in this series as well. But the main bad guy's name in this book is called Grindhouse. I think that's his name. And he's the one that captured the other sister. So will, jump scare come and save the day? I guess we'll have to find out. But this is a really fun book, an original concept. I give Colin Bunn a lot of credit here. This one gives an A-. All right, the next one we're talking about is Spawn, issue 363. Yes, guys, your Spawn books are going up to $3.99 now. This is something that's been in the works for a very long time. At least we got Spawn comics for $2.99 for a while now. Now, this book has to deal with the new Spawn character that showed up in here that was posing as his wife, right? Wanda. And again, when you read Spawn comic books, you can always expect that awesome artwork. This one is done by Brett Booth. Obviously, the script here is done by Todd McFarlane. And again, this whole thing was kind of like a trial for Spawn to run this new group of Hellspawns, okay? And then in the meantime, Nyx, who's the one that is in charge of all of Hell, has this big, gigantic monster that needs to be powered, I guess, by a Hellspawn in order to, I don't know, take over heaven, So just very interesting stuff. And the U.S. military now is involved because they have all these things on their radars, and it's crazy, insane mess right now. But yeah, this is kind of how it ends up there at the end of the last page. Spawn is like a little bit all over the place. I just think that's just the Spawn books in general. Like sometimes they got these great issues and these great story arcs within the main story, but the main story always takes forever to tell, but you can't help the visual storytelling. It's so well done. I gave this issue a B-. Our next book we're talking about is The Moon is Following Us. This is issue 8. Now, when it comes to this series, it's really well done. There's a lot of emotional beats that go into this comic book. We obviously got Sam and Duncan, who are our main characters, are trying to save the day. In fact, save their daughter, Penny. We wind up getting to see the truth of what's going on in this comic book, on how what we thought was the good guy is their true intentions here. And now Sam and Duncan are using Penny's nightmares to their advantage in order to save Penny's life. In the last issue, we got to see a really deep and dark secret that had to deal with Duncan, and it was dark, let me tell you. But now we get to see our heroes come up with the plan to attack the enemy, to come and save the day, save Penny. We get introduced to a Pennycorn, which was her version of like a unicorn and a rhinoceros, and we get to see that thing in action, and that was a lot of fun. And by the time you get to the end of this book, you do get surprised here. I wasn't expecting it. Duncan is not himself, and because of it, there is definitely consequences here. This book is always an emotional roller coaster. I love it. I do wish Daniel Warren Johnson's artwork was on it throughout, but it is a really good book, and I wound up giving this one a B+. And then our next book that we're talking about today is Geiger. This is issue 13. Geiger is one of my favorite books on the stands today. It is an excellent independent comic book. I love the character of Tyreek, and I love the new character here, Ashley Arden, as she's the glowing woman. And as we've progressed through this story, we've wound up getting to see our different cast of characters grow. It started off as Tyreek, and then we wind up getting Nate the Nuclear Knight, Barney was always by Tyreek's side. Now we got Joe, and now you got Ashley Arden in there. And so you just got a lot of characters in here. And this book was just really well done with the emotional factor, especially with Joe giving Barney a bath. And we have this nice heart-to-heart conversation here with Nate the Nuclear Knight and Joe and Tyreek as well, how they're very similar in certain ways. And that's what gives this very dark book some heart, right? And then when you get through those moments, we wind up seeing the military come, and there's definitely something happening here at the end that can cause a serious problem. But you do see this cool team up briefly with Ashley and Tyreek. This book is a must read. If you haven't read it, pick up a trade, guys. A+ from me, probably my favorite book of the week, besides like that Superman facsimile that came out this past week. And there you guys have it. There are all my thoughts and opinions for the rest of the comic books for the current comic book week. And now it's time to get ready for the next week. So as always, guys, if you love the content, I'll leave you more content right here for you to check out. This is, in fact, how I store my comic books, and am I ruining my collection? It's a fun little video, and of course another video about the comic books that are getting ready to come out in about a month from now. And of course, guys, support the local comic shops, keep buying, keep collecting. Always remember, read your comics so we have great comic conversation, and I will see you on the top 10 most pulled comics of the week.